Alrighty, what is up everyone? This is Nick. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the exact blueprint that I've used in order to make $38,465 in 10 days. And I'm not special, right? It's selling AI, and I don't know how to code. I've only been in business for around a year. And I've documented pretty much everything on this YouTube channel from the very beginning. We started really documenting around 30K a month, but as you can see, we're doing higher numbers now. So yeah, I'll hit the refresh just to make sure that I'm legitimate. Okay, let's go to here, March 13th to 23rd, apply. There you go, $38,465 in 10 days. And like I said, I'm not special. I'm just like you. I was in university, and eventually I transitioned into selling AI when phone calling AI started popping up. And within the first 3 weeks, I did 33K cash collected in the bank, and I dropped out right away. So pay attention to this video, because who knows, it could change the course of your life, since I'm going to be breaking down the entire process from start to finish of what I did, from selecting your niche, your offer, to the profit margins and how to pitch. All right, so let's get right into it. Before we get started, I completely forgot to mention it in the beginning of the video, but I'm actually going to be doing a giveaway. So if you want to join, I'm giving away 1 free month of access to the Insight platform, completely free. All you have to do is subscribe and then drop a comment to let me know where you're at in your journey. If you're already selling AI or if you're wanting to start, that's all you have to do to enter the giveaway. So just drop a comment on the video and subscribe, and then I'm going to pick a random person. All right, take care, guys. So the first thing that we have to decide is the niche. Now, no matter what business you're going into, you have to pick a niche. If you're trying to sell to everyone and everybody, you're not going to do well, okay? You don't want to be a jack of all trades, master of none. You want to master a niche and dominate that niche. That's how you're going to make the money. You're not going to make money by going after everybody and their mom. That's just not how it works. When you haven't established yourself and you don't have proof of concept and case studies and testimonials, you can't go after everyone. When you have 10, 15 clients, we can talk about maybe expanding into sub-niches, stuff like that. Anyways, so we have 3 categories that you can pick from. In my personal opinion, these top 2, you're going to see the most amount of success with them because they're less techy. The founders are usually older, so they are more reliant on older technology, which means that you can offer more and they'll see a greater investment. Going from early 2000s technology to conversational AI developed in 2024 is going to be a big difference compared to CRM and chatbots that info product owners might have had set up in 2020, 2021 to now the phone calling AI in 2024. A nice little chart for you here. Now, like I said, in my personal opinion, I would go after home services and professionals. Home services are huge because these guys, a lot of them, they're reliant on, they have government grants, so they have really high margins, and we're talking like 20, 30K per job. So if you close one deal for these guys and you're charging 10 grand up front, it's, they're making their investment back with one client 3 times over. So yeah. So anyways, you have your niche here. You'll have to pick one of these niches. If you don't pick a niche, you're going to make it 10 times harder for yourself. That's just how it is. Now, number 2, your offer. Okay. So there's 3 things that we need to keep in mind. You need to be able to convert leads. Okay. So you need to drive traffic, bring new traffic in. You can't just do one thing. You can't just appointment set. You can't just bring traffic. You're not going to be able to stand out. You're not going to be able to charge 10, 15K up front anymore. The services alone are commoditized, but altogether, targeting a niche, there's very little people doing the same thing. So what we're going to do is, for our offer, we are going to not only get them leads, but we're going to convert those leads into appointments, and then we're going to close those deals. Okay, so we're going to help them close. And the way that we're going to get leads is we're going to run ads for them on Google, Facebook, and Instagram. Now, for home services, the reason why Google ads are so huge, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this and how to fulfill on it. The reason why they're so huge is because, let's say you're a plumber, okay? And let's say you're running Facebook and Instagram ads, okay? If somebody's toilet breaks, the first thing that they're going to do is going to go on Google and search up plumbers. They're not going to start going on Instagram and Facebook and scrolling until they see one of your ads that get their toilet fixed, right? So Google ads are huge because what it does is the more budget you have allocated in a certain area, radius, right? Like if you're a plumber, you're not going to have a 1,000-kilometer radius, so you have to fly a plane to go fix a toilet, at least not yet. So it's a local radius, and then you have search words that whenever somebody searches those words, you pop up as sponsored as the top link. So the huge thing about Google Ads is if you're a plumber, whatever, you can put search words like plumbing, like toilet fix, like all of that stuff, so that when anybody has within that radius, within your area, your local area, the 15, 20 kilometers of the client, when they go on Google and they search it up, bam, top result, they call the phone and then the AI picks up, right? We can set up an inbound agent where the AI can schedule appointments with the leads that are being generated through the ads, okay? So like working hand in hand. And then if we're doing the Facebook and Instagram ads, then maybe it's a lead form, like an HVAC job is a larger job. So we'd collect their information and then the AI would call out, nurture them with SMS and email campaigns, okay? And then number 3 is closing deals. So what we're gonna do is we aren't gonna close the deals for them, but we're gonna enhance the sales scripts, or we're going to replace their closers and place new talent in. And I'm going to break more about how we're going to do that, but basically we're going to use AI to optimize the sales scripts as well as copywriters, or we're going to use a talent agency. Okay, and I'm going to break that down more. So we have our offer, we have our niche. Now, how do we fulfill on this offer? Okay, that's the most important. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this arbitrage process. So the client is going to pay us money. Okay, so you charge 10 grand up front for your services. Then you're going to allocate funds to a contractor. So you're going to pay a contractor, you're going to set money aside from, whatever the client pays you for being able to fill the service. Then the contractor is going to perform the service. So they're going to do the work, of course, with the money that you paid them partially from the client. And then the service is going to be delivered to the client and you're going to be left with majority of the funds. This is what we do right now. So this $38,465. So for this $38,465, I didn't have to do a single minute of work with any of these clients since they came through. All I'm doing is working on the system side, the operations, managing the employees, managing the developers that are working on the fulfillment, optimizing the processes, okay? So all of this is done for me and I just pay them. Now, you're starting out, okay? So in my personal opinion, I don't suggest that you do this to start off. The main reason being is you need a contractor, which you need to find a contractor who's an expert in whatever software, whatever Facebook or Google ads that you're using, or they need to be an employee. Now, with an employee, you can't just bring them on whenever you want. They're paid by a salary. Now for a contractor, you can. The only thing is, if you don't know how to do the process and the fulfillment yourself optimally for your business, how are you going to be able to teach that to somebody else? Sure, they're an expert, but not on your offer, not for your business, right? So in my personal opinion, starting out, what you should do is learn everything yourself. Do a client fulfillment on your own. Learn how to set up the AI. Learn how to run ads somewhat, okay? And then once you've done that, you can hire on an expert, a contractor from Upwork, whatever, and you can teach him the way that you want to fulfill for your process, okay? That's what I would suggest to do. Now, how are we going to fulfill on our offer? So this is the same thing, only we're going a little bit more in depth here. Now, for the paid ads, what you're going to do is you're going to hire a marketing agency. So the best way to learn is learn from who does it better than you, okay? That's the best way. If you want to become a great businessman, why not work in a thriving business before and then start your own? It's the best way to do it, okay? Because you get to see the inner operations, you get to see how everything functions, and then you can copy and paste. That's how most of businesses are successful. They copy competitors. There's no reason to remake the wheel, right? Like look what happened after Tesla made electric cars. Every other car company started making electric cars, and now a lot of other companies have better working electric cars. So don't be scared to copy. It's not like something that doesn't happen in business. It happens every single day with the largest businesses in the space. So what you can do for your for a marketing agency, a white label marketing agency that charges $500 a month, is you can go to these guys, DashClicks. Okay, so these guys, dashclicks.com if you want to go on it. They have a bunch of white label options for digital marketing. So you can go right here, agencies, white label Facebook ads. Look at that. And then unlock your agency potential with Dash Clips for white label Facebook ads. Look at that. You have a white label digital marketing agency for like $500 a month. Great services. And there's a ton of others out here. Pretty sure there's like a Ninja one. There's a bunch of other white label marketing agencies you can use. So that's how we're going to fulfill on lead generation for your client. You don't want to bother with that. in the beginning. Like I said, you'll either learn it yourself, pass it down to a contractor, or hire a marketing agency, learn from them, and then pass it down to a subcontractor. You never want to rely on a marketing agency long term. That's the biggest thing. Now, number 2, we're going to hire an AI developer. Okay, so you're going to build an AI caller for appointment setting. Now, how are we going to do this? How are you going to hire an AI caller? What you can use is Upwork. Upwork works really well. So you can go to Upwork. Oh, it's making me sign in. So right here on Upwork, what you can do is you can actually go through talent. You don't even have to make a post, and you can search through talent just like this. So look, this guy's a graphic designer. He does photo editing, photo manipulation, and logo design. He's in Nigeria, charges $20 an hour. He's a 95% job success, which means every time somebody hired him off Upwork, 95% of them were happy with the job, and he did it successfully from what they asked. Look at this, $6 an hour from Pakistan. This guy does data entry, LinkedIn, lead gen. SEO expert, lead gen expert, right? And here you could just find software engineer, right? Software engineer. Look at that, mobile app development, software engineer at Microsoft, $50 an hour. So obviously he's going to be a little bit more expensive for a Microsoft engineer. Software engineer, front and back end, full stack, mobile developer, right? Ukraine, 100% job success at $27 an hour, right? And you could train these guys, and a build takes, we usually charge our software engineers it's a flat 1,000 for fulfillment. So this guy's going to be even more influenced, right? It won't take him more than like whatever he's charging hourly. It should take like 6 to 10 hours for the software engineer. He's making $1,000, like really good work for both parties. Now, for what are we developing, right? What are we fulfilling with? There's a couple different options. So I'm not trying to be biased or anything, but you have Insight AI. So right now, Insight AI, we're in the early stages. So all of our private clients, there's no recurring. You pay one time, you have access to it for life, which means you never have to worry about paying monthly for a platform. For example, another one of our competitors you could use is Synflow. Synflow is like $1,500 a month for the same capabilities as what we have, like the same plan. So yeah, it's pretty expensive. If you're talking long term and you're wanting to fulfill for clients, you'll have that extra cost on top of everything. But yeah, you can fulfill with Synflow, you can fulfill with Insight, and you can, like I said, I would learn myself, and then I would hire an AI developer, pass on the info, and get him to use his expertise on top of your training in order to fulfill properly. So that's how you're going to fulfill for your AI developer, okay? And then for the third, hire a VA for sales scripts. Okay, so in order to improve sales scripts, you can find a copywriting VA, same thing off Upwork. You can also just use, ChatGPT, right? Or what we're gonna do, same thing, is we're gonna find closers off Upwork. You can also find closers on Facebook groups, right? There's a bunch of different things. So like high ticket closer, right? $40 an hour. Usually they're paid on commission. So yeah, like this guy's $9.97 an hour. So yeah, you can fulfill everything off Upwork. A big thing about running a business and starting to run ads is you'll start to attract people that are not only clients, but people are interested in working for you. And what I found a lot of times when I need to hire is I have so many people that are following me from our ads. Sure, we're running like 500 a day right now, that they follow just because they're interested in potentially working at our company. So what I'll do is I'll make a post with the role that we're hiring for, the requirements, the on-target earnings that are potential for that role, the on-target earnings for that role, and every single employee that I've needed to hire has come from my Instagram posts, like the stories. Worst case scenario, if that didn't work, I would post again and I would find somebody. And then Upwork and Facebook groups is my last solution. So yeah. Now, we're able to fulfill. Okay, so we know how to fulfill for this offer with an AI developer using an AI software. Now, we have everything. So how much do we sell it for? We're going to sell this for $10,000 up front, okay? So $10,000 up front for the initial payment. That's going to come with 3 months of support, okay? So client's going to receive the support within these 3 months. Your software engineer can provide this. You can also eventually hire a CSM once you start to scale your business. To start out, I would suggest you do it yourself, because training a CSM usually ends up being a employee who worked a smaller role like a VA or a part-time contractor, and eventually learns the business well enough to where you want to bring them on full-time and train them. So yeah, I would suggest doing that yourself, the support. Then after the 3 months ends, you're going to charge a 1K to 1.5K monthly retainer after the 3 months for support and maintenance. So let's say they're a client who has static changes in the scripting, in their offer, in the location, so that the agent isn't just always static. It isn't always just the same every single month. If a client is relying on you and they're making good money the first 3 months of support, they will pay you the 1 to 1.5K retainer no matter what. If they're making money in the return on investment, at this point in time, most people are burned out. They're burned out from other people. So if they see any success with you, they will stay on. And then you have a recurring client, which lifetime value, if you keep on improving the offer, if the software keeps on improving, you could be looking at a client with a $30,000 to $40,000 lifetime value if you set up your offer properly in the client success, okay? Now within that, a lot of people ask, they always say, okay, well, they're paying $10,000 up front. Do I have to pay for the ads? Do I have to pay for the software cost? No. So the $10,000 is the setup fee, including the 3 months of support to set up the agent, right? As well as pay for support. And then the retainer, like I said, support and maintenance. The ad spend and the usage cost, your client would be spending on that anyways on their own. If they're running a proper business, they have to be doing that anyways. You're just optimizing the process. So the client will cover the ad spend. On Insight, you'll add their card when the account is created, and you can actually white label the platform as your own. So you could slap on your logo, whatever, and you can even upscale the usage. So let's say the AI is calling. Every time it calls, you'll actually make money off that call. So that's a cool thing. And then they'll cover software fees as well. Okay, so that's going to be our pricing and support. Okay, and how much we're going to sell it for. Now, what are the profit margins on that? Okay, 10K up front, like Nick, this sounds too good to be true. Well, I'll tell you, it gets better. Okay, so this is the breakdown. $1,500 is going to be your cost for a $500 a month white label agency until you eventually outsource it yourself and pay a media buyer that you have at from Guatemala or something at 1.5K to 2K a month on a retainer, and he's managing 10 clients. So eventually, as you start to sign on more clients, it will get cheaper. But $1,500 of the 10K will go to the white label agency. $1,000 will go to the AI developer for developing. I've seen fulfillment for subcontractors at even $500. So yeah. The VA, okay, with the monthly salary, $300. So actually, it would be $900 for 3 months, and then that totals out to $6,600 in profit. Now, the VA, like I said, potentially you could use AI, so that would cut this $900 off, and that would make it $7,500 in profit, which is really good. If you're looking at 75 to 80% margins in a business, everybody who knows business, that's really good. So I'll just give you an example on some margins. What are the average profit margins on a restaurant? All right, so I'll show you. 3 to 5%. Okay, so at 75 to 80%, you're looking at really good, top 1% margins in business. Now, we know the offer. Okay, we know our niche, we know our offer, we know how to fulfill on the offer in depth, right? Everything from how you can start acting today. We know how much to sell it for, and we know how much we're going to make off of it. Now, how are we actually going to sell it? How are we going to pitch this? Because this is all fulfilling for our clients. How are we actually going to fulfill? How are we actually going to sell this offer? We're going to be using meta ads, okay? In my opinion, if you can't afford to spend $50 per day on ads to start out and you're doing cold outreach, you shouldn't, okay? You should save up enough money to where working a job to where you can start to run ads. I wouldn't bother wasting your time with cold outreach because it's such a hassle and it's such a terrible thing to do. So we're going to be using meta ads and combining it with ChatGPT scripts for the headline, the copy, and the primary text in order to have optimized metrics, okay? Right, so you could start as easy as a prompt like this. Create a bunch of ad scripts for me to sell my conversational phone AI phone caller to local businesses. I need a headline as well as a primary text and a good hook to keep the lead wanting more, okay? So it's as simple as that. This will give you every prompt that you need, and then we're going to combine it with Facebook ads. Now, there's 2 ways that you can run ads right now to pitch the product. You can either run a UGC video. So UGC is user-generated content. It's literally just like me right now. I'm speaking directly to the camera. I'm talking to you guys. It's just you talking to the camera straight up. Now, there's 2 ways that you could do this. You can either use AI UGC. Okay, so there's a platform. It's called arcads.ai, and basically it just has AI actors. You plug and play the prompt and a script into this, and you'll actually have an AI person speak to the camera. Now, the thing is, I don't like this because the AI actor isn't you. And in my personal opinion, if you're gonna do a head talking video, instead of paying $130 a month or like for 10 videos, something like that, that's what Arcad charges, you could just go and rent out like a studio in your local area for $50 and you can speak to the camera, have a professional looking setup. And what that does is it creates a personal connection. So if you have a client who views you on an ad and you talking, and then they hop on the sales call and it's you as well, it's technically like the second time they've seen you. And it's gonna build more credibility, it's gonna build more trust, which is crucial in the industry because you're charging 10 grand. You're not charging $500 a month, right? So there's two things. There's pros and cons to both. The AI is super easy. You can literally be laying down in your bed creating the ad, whereas recording it in person in a studio, you have to go out, whatever. But like I said, the AI doesn't really look that amazing either. Like you can clearly see that the voice isn't matching up to the lips. It's like out of sync, so it doesn't look that amazing. Whereas like in the studio, you're creating the personal connection and it's you, right? And you can say whatever you want. So yeah. Now, the second thing that you can do to convert leads is actually playing a demo call of the AI. So you're previewing a demo and you're playing a video of the AI speaking. So you'll plug and play the script, you'll get it to call you, you'll download the recording, and then you'll transfer it into a VEED. Now I'll play you an example.
Listen, you need to stop calling this number. This is the 5th fucking time this week that you're calling. Okay? I'm tired of these calls.
I completely understand, Nick. The reason for my call today is to ensure that you and your loved ones have the best insurance coverage possible. Am I correct in assuming that you're interested in protecting what matters?
Anyways, you can see, so you're previewing the AI. Now this is doing two things. Not only is it showing the technology that you're selling and the business owner that something like this actually exists, but it's hooking them in for more. So what you can do is you can play some customers screaming at the beginning, right? Nothing like that really is running on Facebook already. It really stands out. It's a hook, it's a demo of the product, and it's basically giving them a taste and wanting them, it's wanting them to have more. That's what it's doing. Okay, so now you know there's two ways that you can run the ad. Now what happens once they click on learn more? Okay, you've had your primary text generated and your headline generated with ChatGPT prompt. You have your creative. Okay, you could even test both of these, right? Nobody's stopping you. And then what happens when they click more? So what we're going to do is we're going to send them to a funnel. Now there's 3 stages to this funnel. There is the VSL page, there's the booking page and the qualifying questions, and then there's the thank you page plus the booking VSL again. Okay, we want to make sure that they're watching the VSL. So the VSL page is going to send them to right here. Business owners doing at least 50K per month, appointments and 10,000 leads per minute using our conversational AI infrastructure. Super simple. Okay, just basically telling them and educating them on the product. Then we have a 25-minute VSL. It's basically going through the emotional change and the technical side. That way we don't want our sales call to turn into a Q&A. We want them to be informed on the sales call. We want them to trust us. Everything needs to be already, they need to know exactly who we are, exactly the capabilities of the AI before hopping on the sales call. Otherwise, it's going to turn into a question and answer call. And if it turns into a question and answer call, it's going to be very hard to collect 10 grand at the end because on the same call they've obtained the information, you're now asking them for 10 grand. If they've obtained the information before, the only reason they're hopping on the call is if they're interested in finding more information, which like I said is hooking them in, or number 2, they want it applied for the business and they don't know how to do it themselves, okay, which is the majority of the case. So you have the book a call, and then once they click the book a call, they get sent to this qualifying question. They gauge where you're at with your company's life cycle. What's your current monthly recurring revenue? So we have 0 to 10K, 10 to 25K, 25 to 50, 50 to 100, 100 to 300, 300K plus. Now what happens is this qualifies them financially. If they select option A, they get sent to a disqualified page where we basically just spam them with free content until they eventually do become at the point where they can afford our services and are making more. If a business is making 0 to 10K, there's no point in working with them. They're not going to afford your 10K upfront. It's impossible. So immediately disqualified. Now, you have the booking page and the qualifying questions. So once they make it through, they get sent to the calendar page where they have the option to book. Then they would enter their details here, right? So their name, email, phone number, website, URL, and then we have a couple questions. Please explain your business in 1 to 3 sentences like you're talking to a 6th grader. Who do you serve? What do you sell? What's the price point? And then we have what bottlenecks do you want to say to solve for your business? If there's a guaranteed ROI, would you be able to invest 5K plus? We only say 5K plus because we do offer payment plans like split payments. Have you watched the pre-call video? If no, do not book in before watching. And we have a yes, no, not yet, but I will right now. Do you agree to honor your requested time slot and show up with all decision makers? If you do not, blah, blah, blah. It's just ensuring that they're going to show up. Now, this is good, right? The only problem with that is between the VSL and the booking page plus qualifying questions, there's a lot of friction. So what a lot of people will do is they'll click on the VSL page, and then as soon as they hit the booking page, 97% of people in the online service industry space do not self-book. So they'll click off the page, okay? That is a major issue, okay? There's a ton of friction here. 3% of people are self-booking, which is not good. It's not good. We're losing 97% of people. So what are we gonna do? Okay, what is the solution? We are going to use exactly what we're selling, okay? We're gonna use the appointment setting campaign. And what we're gonna do is it's gonna have 3 layers. We're gonna have go high level for SMS nurturing and email nurturing sequences. And then we're gonna use Insight AI or Synflow or Vappy for the AI calling, okay, to call the leads and get them booked in. So for the SMS and nurturing sequences, the first SMS is sent right away, okay? Then the second SMS will get sent like 5 to 10 minutes later. And then we're gonna follow up an hour later, 24 hours later, and then 48 hours later. Now, for the AI caller, what we're gonna do is it's gonna double dial right away, then it's gonna follow up an hour later, it's gonna follow up 12 hours later, and then it's gonna call them twice a week for a month, and then we're gonna reactivate and just keep calling the lead once a month until they're dead, until they're considered like, okay, this lead is not going to be, converting. And then at the same time, while both of these are going, we're gonna be nurturing them with emails. We're going to start with daily emails for 2 to 3 weeks, nurturing testimonials, proof of concept, statistics, demos, everything, okay? And then we're going to send reactivation emails monthly. So if you're not doing this, you're losing on tens of thousands of dollars in your business. And we've recently started doing this, actually from our mentor, Ravi. And what we'll do is just every month, every 2 months, every single lead that we have will enter a reactivation campaign, whether that be on like a discounted price or a new feature coming out, promoting something, and we'll get a couple clients closed from that, right? 10K PIFs up front. And if you don't know what a 10K PIF is, it's just basically 10K paid in full. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So now that we've solved the gap, that should improve the 1 to 3% cold lead booking rate to about 10%. So if you can convert 10% of leads that are coming through, you're doing very good, okay? Now, once we've bridged the gap, okay, like I said, that tension has increased, then we'll continue down the funnel, okay? So they get sent the thank you page to the thank you page, and then we have the VSL. So just in case they didn't watch it yet. Thank you for booking a call with us. Look forward to meeting you. Important. Please complete the following 3 steps. If you don't, we'll be forced to cancel your call and give your slot to somebody else. Please watch a 93-second video, basically showing them like this isn't going to take a long time. It isn't like the VSL you just watched for 26 minutes. And it just thanking them, nurturing, being super friendly. As you can see, there's a professional-looking background in the back. We were in a Toronto penthouse there, so very nice. That was actually the first time Jax and I met, my business partner. So fun fact there. And then step 2, confirm your call. Confirm your call by replying yes to our text or email and selecting yes in the email calendar invitation. And then we have a screenshot showing that. And then step 3, learn more about our AI client engagement system, ACs. And then this is just the VSL again, okay, but with fancier words, fancier wording. Awesome. Okay, so now that we understand how to funnel the lead, how to run creatives to engage the lead, how to write copy for the creatives, the profit margins on the offer, how much to sell it for, how are we actually fulfilling this offer, and our offer in the niche, what's the last thing? How to sell the client, okay? So how to pitch. You can actually use this exact thing on the sales call, and we use this exactly on a sales call if we're pitching. And so what you'll have is your name, and then like your business name, AI program, or whatever you call it. And you have these steps, okay? So the biggest thing that you need to make sure you're covering is buyer's remorse. You want to make sure that your client is not feeling remorse, especially before they're signed on. You want to make sure everything is covered, they have full clarity of what's going to happen, and they're happy with everything. So the first thing is the onboarding. Okay, we're going to onboard you. We're going to send you over a onboarding fulfillment form, and then once that's completed, we're going to get started right away on your ad creation. So everything's going to be covered in the onboarding form so that we can start creating your ads right away. You don't have to do anything. Once we've created the ads, we're going to send them over to you for review, and then if everything is good to go, we're going to launch them. What that's going to do is it's going to engage in the leads already. So if we don't have leads existing, we have leads coming in and flowing through now while we're creating the AI caller. And then once the AI caller is set up, we're going to set up the SMS and email sequences to collaborate with the AI caller in order to have the AI book in leads and call for reminder calls in order to remind people if they've self-booked or if the AI has booked them. And then once that's complete, we're going to place in a closer, or we're going to refine your sales process in order to ensure that the leads that are coming through and that are being booked in are actually turning into cash. And that's everything. And obviously that was, a summarized thing, but the biggest thing that I say on sales calls and on anything is you don't want to have it too complex. If it's simplistic like this and you can show them exactly how it's done and essentially tell them everything that's going to happen and sell implementation, they're going to go for it. You don't want to confuse these guys. You don't want to have a million different charts, whatever, especially when you're talking to the home services niche guys, okay? Because they're not tech savvy, right? They're an older audience. They're an older age bracket, okay? So yeah, guys, this is that's pretty much everything. That's everything that you need to know in order to start selling AI literally today. That's what we've been using in order to do over $38,000 in 10 days. And like I said, I'm not special. Okay, I'm not any crazy, high genius IQ kid. I was just like you. I went to high school and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, so I went to university and I realized that I don't want to work a job. I don't want to have somebody tell me when to take my lunch breaks and when to take lunch or when I can go on vacation. And I'm able to work from anywhere in the world. I was able to visit my girlfriend and we were able to travel to Germany. I was able to go to Miami and I was making so much money while traveling the world, which a lot of people can't do. And if you want to do the same, what I do aside from running my AI software and selling AI is I actually help people resell. So part of the Insight platform and what we do is you can actually sell the platform as your own. And you can work one-on-one with me and my business partner and our entire team essentially. And we can help you scale and make just as much money as us, if not, at worst, at least a fraction of it. So if you're interested in working with me one-on-one personally, and you want to scale to making $38,000 in 10 days selling AI, I have a link in the description, the one and only link. It is an application, so we don't just accept anybody who comes through. You do require to invest in yourself. So if you're not willing to invest in yourself, you're not willing to commit, and you don't want to make this money selling AI, I don't suggest booking a call. If you do, I would recommend booking a call. It's basically just a time machine to being able to skip all the trial and error of selling AI, skip the high costs of paying a monthly retainer for SynthFlow. Like I said, for us, it's one and done. So yeah, if you are interested, book that call below. If you're not, no problem at all. I have lots of free content on my YouTube. I have lots of people who have closed deals from my YouTube. But yeah, if you are committed, if you're hardworking, I know you're going to succeed, and I want people like that. I want to work with people like that. So if that sounds like you, I will see you on the call. It'll be either me or my business partner taking it based on who's available for it. And yeah, I hope you guys had an amazing day, and I hope you found some sort of value from this call. I'll see you in the next one.